achievements that you can go through for single player. So for the campaign, you have achievements. For various custom games, you have achievements. For the ladder, you have achievements. On top of that, in terms of the ladder, ladder wins will open up new portraits. So that will drive you to continue to play each race. Terran, Zerg, Protoss, and Random Race go up to 1,000 wins to get the highest profile picture, so that will last you quite a while to get there. Plus a really good campaign with a good story, with great cinematics, with really well done voice acting, with co-op and multiplayer aspects. It just puts everything together. Plus you have this whole competitive scene behind everything driving it. And then you actually have the future of the game, which is only going to get more diverse. It will create a more robust and complex multiplayer experience where to be honest, the actual Wings of Liberty multiplayer experience has stagnated a little because of the lack of units, because it's led to, as the aforementioned metagame is concerned, at the top levels, the best strategies are starting to get figured out. So you have a lot of similar games, and every game, almost every game lasts a certain amount of time because you just don't have anybody trying to kill their opponent, because every way that you can is known and defendable. So if it were just Wings of Liberty, it could be hard to get into the multiplayer scene at this point, but when you have 2 more expansions coming up to make the game bigger and better, on top of a ridiculously well done game in all respect anyway, it's hard to find much fault other than it has so much in it that inherently there's going to be a problem here or there. One more thing in terms of the Brood War nostalgia that I mentioned, which is the Battle.net client for Brood War, Battle.net 1, had a lot more features than Battle.net 2, including after this most recent arcade patch. So that has put people off, as well as the lack of LAN support, which has also annoyed people, and for good reason. But those are separate things. But just something I would mention about the game and potential criticisms towards it. So, also, I have also showed you that there is a replay viewer, something that is going to be introduced, thankfully, though I haven't heard anyone talk about it in the Heart of the Swarm beta, but it was mentioned quite a while back, which is viewing replays as a party. So right now you can't actually view a replay with somebody else. So if you want to review a replay with someone remotely, then you're going to have to sort of sync it up with each other, and it's kind of difficult and wonky. But you'll be able to go into that. You can go through replays. I save all my replays. Let's go into a replay and just go over how the replays work, which also adds into the competitive aspect, because you go back and review your games. So over here we have this bar. You can actually hide it if you're going to cast the game like an esports game. You can actually hide this and not give away how long the game is. You can speed up to 8 times. Of course, this will tax the processor and your graphics a bit, so the frame rate will probably drop unless you have a really beastly machine. In games, you can chat to your opponent. You can actually bring up a chat log. You actually normally use a menu along the top, but I have it put. You can actually show production to show what's being built, what units are on the field. You can bring up an overlay, so units killed, army supply, worker supply, just units lost, or sources, income. We also put up an overlay for income. Just an overlay for who's in the game. APM. So if you have two different measures of APM. You see current up to 150. You can look all over the vision. You can actually look let me jump back because once it's in the middle of the game, it will. You can actually jump back through the replay, slow it back down. If you can actually look at a certain player's vision, you can also watch from that player's camera perspective.
Go, go,
so
go!
this is me without my hands on the keyboard, just watching where I was looking in the game at a particular time. So you can see my camera move around
SCV ready.
to show where I was looking. This gives you a ton of information to improve in terms of your game. So that's also a very good feature. I'm a bit roundabout because I'm thinking of things as I go through this. Another thing, hotkeys. StarCraft 2 uses an enormous amount of hotkeys. I have bound, in terms of single player, F1, F2, F3, F4 on units, plus tilde 1 to 5, tilde and 1 to 5. These are all just for units, and then you have additional hotkeys, which actually hotkey to my mouse, which actually has a keypad on the side, to camera hotkeys, which will jump to specific locations on the map. Unit hotkeys can hotkey buildings and units. On top of that, you have hotkeys for different actions and commands in the actual game. So I keep closing and reopening replays because it can be good and demonstrative. So for keys, I use the grid layout, so it uses the left side of the keyboard to map to this grid over here in the bottom right. So here's Q, W, and then what we E, R, T, and then A, S, D, F, G, Z, X, C, V, B. So on top of that, you have Alt, which can go for pinging, which is kind of broken right now, but you hold that down. You have backspace to jump between bases. You have a hotkey for selecting idle workers. Protoss has a hotkey for warp ins. I have my idle workers to spacebar and then warp gate for Y. So, and then you have to use control to help set hotkeys and then shift to Q commands. So between all of those things, let's see, escape also cancels. So I have escape, so, and then F1 to F4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Tab also tabs through groups of units, so that's also another thing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, yeah, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, around 40 hotkeys, so, or at least around 40 keyboard keys that you would use for commands in the game. To give you an idea of the mechanical, how mechanically demanding it can be. And if we actually go into other options, you can actually fully customize the hotkeys. If you go to global, you have lists for everything you can do. One thing about the game is chat never worked for me. I haven't tried it in quite a while, so maybe it works now, but voice chat never worked for me, so I use Skype. If I want to talk to somebody, talk to a friend during a game, you have all these different hotkeys in here that you can customize. All you have to do is select one. You can have a hotkey and an alternate for each one, so that's really nice. You can adjust your graphics in various ways. Whole bunch of options. Sound, enable music, enable sound, voice, or